Hey guys, what's up? I'm doing another DIY project today. I made one of these a couple years ago, and it disappeared because I left it by the river, and that's what happens when you leave things laying around. Anyway, so I'm gonna build another one. This is a plywood John boat. It's somewhat of a flat bottom boat, and they're pretty straightforward, small, but they have quite a good cargo capacity compared to a regular V-hull or whatever you might call it. So I've just got some a jigsaw, a circular saw, a bunch of clamps. I bought some lumber, some quality 2x4s, two of them, two economy 2x4s, and six 1x2 boards. These are the little 1x2 here. They're kind of flexible and easy you can bend them and whatnot. So I've mapped out what I want to do here. I've cut this into, well, I haven't cut it, but anyway, I've marked it into 16-inch strips. So after I cut it, I've got 2 sheets of 1/2-inch plywood. And if you want to do a boat this size, you need 2 sheets. And the floor of the boat is going to be about 4x8. 4x8 at the back, and about 4x3 at the front, I think. So I've marked it out into 16-inch strips. See those lines? Each strip is 16 inches wide. So those are going to be the sides. As you can see, I have it marked side. So the sides are going to be 8 feet long and 16 inches tall. And the way I did it last time was I cut a 45-degree angle, and it was kind of square nosed, like, well, I don't know, it was a 45-degree angle, and I had a floor joint, so I had to cut the floor and do it. This time I'm gonna do I'm not gonna cut the floor. I'm just gonna try bowing the floor, and it's probably not gonna be as, the nose is gonna be a little more blunt than my last one, but that's alright. So this I've got it marked out. That's gonna be a side 8 feet long. That's going to be a side 8 feet long. And then we got a 16-inch strip here that I've cut in half. So they're going to be 4 feet long. So the 4-foot section can be used for the rear or the transom, the back of the boat. And if you want to, since there's going to be not much of a front of the boat, there's only going to be an 8-inch section there for the front. And I could probably do that with a 2x8 or a couple of 2x4s, or maybe a scrap piece. So if you had something to put across the front other than plywood, you could double these up, and because there's going to be 2 of these 4-foot sections, you could double them up and you could have a double thick rear transom. That's where your boat, or where your motor mounts. I'm probably just going to use the trolling motor on this boat because it's quiet and it works, and it's light, easy to move. So you could use this section as a nose piece. You could use this section as a double transom mount. Like, you could laminate these 2 together and have a double thick piece on the rear. You could use it as corner pieces. You could use it as seats. You could do different pieces with that section there. So depends on how you want to do it. This is going to be like my variation. So I'm not sure if I'm going to double up the transom, or maybe I'll just have a double thick piece where the motor goes, or maybe the nose would only be 8 inches. If there was a nose piece, it would only be 8 inches tall, because I've done this angle here and it's only 8 inches there on this across the front. So even if I did use that for a nose, I would only use 8 inches of it and maybe 3 feet across, because the nose is going to be narrower than the back. So I haven't quite mapped out the floor piece yet. I've got 2 pieces here stacked on top of each other. I haven't, I've planned this piece out, but I haven't planned out the floor yet, aside from on paper and in my head. So my next step is I'm going to take the jigsaw and cut this. It's got a bit of a curve to it, a slight curve. So I'm going to take the jigsaw and cut that. And then instead of trying to duplicate that curve, because I made that curve by clamping a piece of wood on there and curving the wood gradually, because I want it to be a gradual, so it's easy to bend the plywood and bend the 1x2s. Because it's hard to curve like a thick chunk of wood on a sharp angle. So that's why it's all gradual. So I'm going to cut this piece out, and instead of trying to duplicate it on the other side, I'm just going to cut it out, and then I'm going to use the cutout, and I'm going to set the cutout on here and mark out the cutout. So instead of trying to duplicate the angle, I'll just cut it off, and then I'll have a perfect cutout stencil kind of thing. So this is pretty much all I can do right now, or this is just the raw materials. So I wanted to show you while I was in this stage, the raw material stage. And yeah. So keep an eye out for part 2 on this video, because there's going to be at least 2 parts. I'll keep you updated on it. It should be an easy project. I think it was, I've only got like $70 invested, maybe $60, $70 invested into this wood and stuff. I think I've already got screws here. I think I've got, I can seal it. I think I've got sealer. I think I've got paint. I'm going to use a different kind of paint, so that's going to be interesting. You want to keep an eye out for that. I'm going to use a paint that you've probably never seen up before. Well, it's not very common on a boat, the type I'm going to use. So anyway, that's it for part 1. Watch out for part 2 and see how I slap this stuff together. Have a good day.